Hi, everybody. What's going on? I want to ask you a question. I want to ask if you've ever joined a gym and you've ended up, you stopped going within 6 weeks. The question is, why did you stop? Within those 6 weeks, what made you think this isn't right for me? Take a second, actually think about it. The story you're probably going to tell yourself is about willpower. That you didn't have what it takes, that you got busy, you lost the motivation, you couldn't stick to it. And to be honest, that's the story every ex-gym member tells in every country, in every single year since gyms have existed. Whenever they were first invented, who knows? I've watched the industry from the inside out for a long time now. I've been a part of it. I've been around for over 10 years, and you can see it, and I can see the mistakes that we've made in the past, the ones we maybe continue to make. And I actually think what happens is less to do with willpower and more to do with us. It's more to do with us as the gym, because we have to make an environment where you can succeed. Because if we rely on willpower alone, well, then we're inevitably going to fail. Because even us as coaches and as trainers, there's times when our motivation is lacking. There's times when our willpower is lacking, and we rely on systems to make sure that we keep showing up. So we need to create that as gyms. So when you think the answer is willpower, I think the answer is a lot less flattering on me. It would be lovely if I could just blame you guys for every time you struggled with motivation, or every time you dropped off, or anyone who ever left our gym. I can just blame it on their motivation. I think the honest answer is that nobody noticed when you were struggling. Nobody noticed that week when the buzz was wearing off and you went from doing 4 sessions a week down to 2, and then the following week you went down to 1 session, and then all of a sudden you weren't here. Or maybe you went on holiday, and when you came back you just couldn't get started again, and nobody checked in to see where you were at. No one asked, did you have a nice time away? No one asked when your first session back in was going to be. Nobody noticed you at all, maybe. That's the harder one, right? It's like you just feel like you're just a number walking through the door. We've all probably felt that in some way, shape, or form. Whether or not it's in gyms is another question. But when that happens, and when someone ultimately decides to leave a gym, it's like death by 1,000 cuts. There's been problems along the way that has caused it. And then ultimately they blame willpower because they blame themselves for not showing up. But there was just not enough interventions there to make you stick or to re-energize you. So it's not a personal failing. I don't think so. I think it's more of a business model, and I think it's more of a challenge for gyms to get right than it is for the clients to get right. Because if we can create an environment to succeed, if we, even in the sales process, make sure that we are signing you up for something that is feasible for you to do, well, then we are setting you up for success so that we can make sure we maximize your experience. Most gyms make more money from the members who don't show up than the ones who do, and that's a scary thing to me. Now, that's obviously mostly in the commercial setting. People will sell annual memberships and things like that. And the goal is that they're never really at 100% occupancy, because if they were, there would be no space for anybody to even walk around, let alone use all the available equipment. Our gym is obviously built on a different model in terms of serving less people with higher tiered services. But there are still gyms who are coaching gyms who still make a lot of money from people who don't show up. But that is a game that is just asking to fail. So I want to talk about that, not the marketing version, just the real version. What it actually feels like to be a member of a gym where the entire system is built around the promise that you will not fall through the cracks. And I'm also going to try and acknowledge our own failings within that, because while it is a great North Star to work towards, while we are always looking at our length of engagement, how long people stay with us, we're always trying to measure that. And we're always measuring the reasons why people leave. The reality is we still make mistakes all the time that allow people to slowly drift down and ultimately leave. But we're always trying to get better at it. And one thing we've really focused on this year is the first 120 to 150 days of a new client journey. And we're really diving into what happens after that now. But I really just thought it would be an interesting discussion point for this podcast. So listen, anyway, that was the preamble. Welcome back to the Wicklow Strength and Fitness podcast. It's me, it's Liam. This is an interesting one. We'll see how it goes. But I suppose, like, look, as we come into this, the promise, I suppose, that I make to people is that I care, is that the coaches care, is that WSF as an organization is built around care, and that we really do want you to succeed. You know, it's built around that commitment. If you show up, we're going to notice. And if you stop showing up, we're going to notice that too. If you're quietly wondering whether or not you're doing it right, someone will answer that question before you actually have to ask it. So if you're in class or you're doing a session and you're wondering, are you performing the exercise correctly? We hope that we're actually letting you know you are or you're not before you have to verbalize that. That's something we try. And we've built in a lot of touch points along the way to try and maximize that. But really, it's just about care. Care is the system. Everything else you might hear about our onboarding is the mechanism along the way. It's the touch points. But the mechanism and the touch points aren't really what matters. The point is that a person who joins WSF should never at any moment within their first 3 to 5 months, where we've mapped this out meticulously, feel like they're alone, feel like they're not being supported. And then we want to kind of carry that on throughout the entire journey. But we know that if we can keep you training, if you show up consistently as you described that you wanted to in the sales process, and you can do that for between 3 to 5 months, we know that you're actually going to be here for an average of 4 years. And we know that if you're with us for 4 years, you're going to achieve an incredible amount of strength, incredible amount of fitness, an incredible amount of just overall health gains. But we know that if you drop off within that 90 to 120 day window, you're also not likely to start anything again with a gym for a significant period of time, which also holds you back. So that is why we've really dove into this process of the first onboarding piece, knowing that if we get you to stick, that we can then get into the real work, which is to hopefully change and enrich your life through fitness. And the why we do this, I guess we just know, like, we study it, we look at the data, we know what happens when nobody notices. We've all been that person in a business of some way, shape, or form. We've all joined a thing and then stopped going and told ourselves it was about willpower. Told ourselves it was our fault, we just couldn't get into it. Almost everybody who's quit a gym, there's been a reason that it was never caught, and it's never what people put on a cancellation form. There's always been something else. The whole design of our onboarding is one sentence. It's that nobody falls through the cracks by accident. Everything downstream of that came from asking, what does that actually look like? Like, how can we maximize the benefit of joining our gym? And I try to think of it in a way, it's like, if you disappear for 2 weeks at WSF, you're probably going to get like 3 separate texts. You'll probably get a phone call. You'll probably get an Instagram message. You probably have me calling up as well. People slipping into your DMs, because there's so many people noticing that you haven't been here. And I guess that's what happens when I tell the staff that their whole job is built around caring, is that they actually have to do that. And sometimes you might have just been away for 2 weeks and forgot to tell us, but you're like, whoa, my God, why are these guys calling me so much? What's going on? But I think it's care, even if it does cause that little bit of chaos at times when you're out for a valid reason. But let's start getting a little bit more specific, right? So everything has a moment. It's a feeling, right? the first day, and I think like for most of you listening to this, if you're a member here, it's probably hard for you to remember your first day. But it started with a consultation of some point. And the role of that consultation is actually vitally important. And I think it's underestimated across the industry. It's about setting you up for success. Because if I just let people click a button to sign up, they don't know what it is they're signing up for. I don't know their goal. I don't know if what they've signed up for actually helps them get toward their goal. And I don't really know how to measure the progress toward it either. Whereas by having the consultation, by having the conversation and knowing what the goal is and knowing the routine, knowing the schedule of the person, it allows me to first maximize that experience. It allows me to sign them up for something that is going to allow them to start winning straight away. Because if I sign somebody up for a 4 times a week package, but they work shifts and they can actually only do 2 days, well, then they feel like they're failing because they're only getting 2 out of the 4 that they were supposed to try and hit. But that was just an arbitrary number. So, I mean, think about the first time you walked into a place for the first time and didn't know anybody, right? This could be the last time you joined a gym. It could be the last time you joined a choir. It could be the last time you joined a dance club, whatever it is. But at some point, you've walked into a room and you just didn't know anybody. Could be even just be a party, right? You get nervous, right? It's normal, but it's the default. You get nervous. And going into a party can be intimidating. Going into a gym where you just assume everybody knows what they're doing and you don't, that's bloody terrifying. For most people, some of you listening to this would not care. You'd walk in and just look for the strongest person and try to beat them. That's for you, Willie, if you're listening. But now imagine a few days before you walk in, after you've done the sales consultation, but now you get a short video from a coach saying, hey, it's me. I'm going to be meeting you on Tuesday at 10. Looking forward to it. Can't wait. You see a real face. You see their name. They say, see you on Tuesday, and that's it. You know exactly what you're getting. And then when you walk in, you already know who it is you're looking for because you've seen that person before. You know what their face looks like. You might see me from when you did your consultation before, and I'm going to wave at you and say, oh, I can't believe it's your first day. Like, let's make sure you're having a good time. And then, like, we'll send out, like, a handwritten card as well to, like, try and make sure it feels like a nice little touch. And all of that is lovely, right? But at the end of the day, we still have to make sure that you can come in and do the work and commit to it and make sure that we're maximizing everything as you do. And then what happens is you get the moment where it's not shiny and new anymore. So some stage around week 2, 3, or 4, everybody silently kind of starts to have a little bit of a wobble. The new thing energy has worn off to some degree. It's not the cool new thing. It's like, oh, I'm doing back squats again. I've already done those once though, so they're not as cool. They're not as sexy. You want to do something new again, right? And that's why, like, the first Monday of like that new time, it's when you really start to feel the difference. And the number one most common churn date for most gyms is day 21, so not even a month in. And you can probably think of this, right? You've probably joined something before in the past, and day 21, you're gone. And the question is why? Like, why would you leave at day 21? It's actually that first wobble. It's because it's not new. It's not shiny. And this is something we're acutely aware of because we try to make sure that at this moment we're actually getting people in for another sit down to make sure that everything is going okay and that we're progressing towards it and we're showing the progress towards their goal and we're showing that we're heading in the right path. Do we nail it? No. Have we had people drop out after that 21-day mark? Yeah, absolutely. Are we aware it exists? Oh, you betcha. Measure all of that stuff to make sure that we have it. And it's not really about a motivational quote. It's about getting people together to make sure that we're there and we're trying to show them the best path forward. It's nothing dramatic. It's just steady, specific help to point them in the right direction. And then we have all these other milestones, like, about getting in for body scans, about the number of sessions that you'll do. But the majority of it comes down to making sure that you're tracking towards your goals. And this is why, as annoying as you find it may be, when you get messages about, oh, you're due your next goal review, why they're so important is that the reason you joined might not be the reason you're here anymore. So, for example, somebody joins looking for weight loss, and their target is maybe 2 to 3 kilos of weight loss, because they're getting married in a couple of months. And this is actually a common story, right? People have joined here looking to improve their body composition for an upcoming wedding of theirs or a friend's or something like that. I can think of Gavin recently, who got married, who originally joined looking to look great on the wedding day. Just also happened with Kieran as well. There's another one. Like, there's two. And what happens then is eventually the wedding happens, and eventually they've done that. Eventually they've changed the body composition. They've gone and got married. So, cool, right? Job done? No, we have to keep continuing to meet you regularly to update what we know about your goals. And what we know about your goals ultimately dictates how we can help best. So the prescription changes over time, because if you join to lose 2 kilos, but when you've lost 3 kilos and gained 2 kilos muscle and now you look different, the goalposts will move. And we've talked before about how that can sometimes lead to dissatisfaction because you're always chasing the next thing. The importance of the goal review is to recognize, number one, what's gone well so far, what you've done really well, and then ultimately how we're going to move that forward and what we can do next and what the new goal is. And this is, again, the conversation that's constantly happening. So when I'm annoying you, or when the coaches are annoying you saying it's time for your next goal review, that's why, pretty much. And like, when you're hitting these sessions and why we want to do it, and honestly, I just kind of want to zoom out. And again, I acknowledge we don't 100% nail this. There's times where we miss that you started training less. There's times where we miss that maybe your goal has shifted from what we have on record, and we're maybe not putting you in the best scenario. Honestly, we have work to do at it, but I do think that we are one of the best at it as well. From when I look around at, gyms around the country and around the world as well, I know we execute at a high level. I know there's still room to do it. And why am I highlighting it for you? I actually just want to highlight the importance of goal reviews and of connecting with us, because we do have a system built on care, and we do want you to keep showing up, and we do want you to keep winning. And in order for that to happen, we need you to share as well. When you hit these moments, when you're starting to slide, when your goals are shifting and you feel like you're not moving towards them, we need you to run toward us rather than run away from us. And like, honestly, if that sounds like a lot, I mean, it is. And I want to be honest about why most gyms don't do it, right? I mean, most gyms are running on the mats of the direct debit. They know that if they sign up enough people, most of them will quietly stop coming. They know that if they sign up enough direct debits, that they'll just keep running. And the incentive is to sign people up and then stay out of the way and just kind of let them go, right? And that is the traditional model, and you can look at that across like commercial gyms and stuff. Some are better than others, some have more touch points than others, but the idea, again, and no matter which one you go to, is that there's going to be people who actually don't go and train there. And it's easy, right? Because the maths works. Like, when you do the calculations of the amount of members they have, even at the lower price point, you can see how they're amazingly profitable businesses. But the maths only works if you don't care about the human on the other side of the direct debit transaction. Like, we couldn't run our gym that way because it's not what we want to do. It's not because we're heroes. It's because the reason I got into the gym game, and the reason I bought it, and the reason I built all of it, it's specifically the opposite of that. I fell in love with training because of what it did for me. I fell in love with coaching because of the transformations I was seeing in people. And then I fell in love with being a gym owner because I was able to see the impact I was able to have on coaches' careers, who were also then helping so many more people than I could help alone. So to do that at best as we can, we have to make sure that we are delivering for you and that we optimally care to make sure that you keep showing up and keep coming. And honestly, like, there's the boring business reason for it too. Like, a person who quietly quits doesn't tell people if they're a member of a gym or not, right? Whereas I know if I can turn you into a raving fan when we have things like the Bring a Friend Day that we did recently, I know that you'll be more likely to bring somebody because you think that we're great. You love us. We love you. You're getting a lot from us. So you want to share it with the world. You want to bring your wife. You want to bring your husband. You want to bring your friend. You want to bring somebody in your life to share this thing with that you experience. And that's it for us. That's how I want to grow, rather than have you not show up, but hopefully not notice the money leaving your account at the end of the month. And I guess, why is that 90-day thing? I talked about it earlier. Again, we do track all this data, which sounds contrary to the belief of care, but data actually is a great indicator of how well we're doing at caring. If our churn goes up, if our length of engagement goes down, it means our care is not to the highest standard that we set ourselves. We then need to review and refresh and maybe look at what we're doing. But it really does come down to knowing the fact that if I get you to 90 days, I know I can keep you for an average of 3 to 4 years. And I actually want to extend that. I want to make it more powerful, because I know that the next drop-off point is 8 months. I know that the next drop-off point after that is 13. And after that is 19. And all of these moments occur around times when you're going to get a real buzz and you're going to be pushing towards a goal. And then all of a sudden it's not new or shiny enough anymore. And we need to be there to make an intervention to help you move forwards and readjust and update your prescription. And maybe this conversation is really boring to you. Maybe you just don't care about what we do. You're just happy that we do it. And that's cool too. I suppose my objective of this was just sharing the importance of you sharing your goal with us, and knowing that we genuinely do care, and knowing that we track when you show up and when you don't, because we need to know it for doing our job as best as we can. And that's the whole thing. The onboarding at WSF is not really about the touch points, the emails, the scans, the cards. Those are the mechanisms. The thing itself is just a single promise that you won't be invisible in here. And I don't want you to ever feel invisible, whether you're here for a day, a week, a year, 10 years, whatever your story is going to be. The longer you're here, the deeper your connection is going to be to me, to the team here, and the more invested we're going to become into you and your story and who you want to be. It all starts from the consultation, making sure you're set up correctly, but that is only the start. We need to constantly be updating your prescription, because as life changes, as you change, as you grow as a person, what you need from us and what you need from your fitness and your gym program changes. And over time, we need to continue to elevate and change what we do. So again, if you have any feedback on that, I would love to hear it. And maybe this is just something you needed to hear in order to book your next Go review. Or if you're listening and you're someone in the Wicklow area who's just tuning in because you thought this was going to be another dramatic episode, maybe if this sounds like a place you want to be part of, come have a sit down, ask us anything you like. If it's the right fit, maybe we'll find something that's going to suit you. But that is it for today, gang. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you all on the next episode. Have a great day.